Fully ignited souls, we are going to concentrate on the third relationship of the big five with the 14 gods, which is on Hinduism. So we are going to look at the created God. Excuse all the missing letters, but I'll just call them out. We are going to look at Hinduism in relationship to the created God, the moved God, the set God, the saw God, the divided God, the called God, the made God, the set God, the blessed God, the ended God, the formed God, the caused God, the breathed God, and the planted God. And we are going to look at this, the 14 gods of Genesis chapter 1 and 2. And we are going to see how they resonate, or which of those gods that Hinduism resonates most with, or mostly with. Okay, now Hinduism, so we are looking at the big five as we have done. We have seen that. I hope you've got your fork, because we are ready to dig in deep. Okay, and we are also inviting or igniting the 14 gods that we have just called out. By calling their names, we've already done that. And we are also acknowledging the spirit of the high priest Aaron with us, guiding us through numerology. He is really the numerologist. Okay. So I call him my mentor. Okay, so here we are looking at Hinduism. What we did before looking at the big five, we looked at the numerical values. For instance, Judaism had a numerical value of 23. Of course, 2 plus 3 is 5. And we added the number of letters, because then that gives us an overall vibration of Judaism. You know, because, of course, it's all about the Word. In the beginning was the Word. The Word was with God, and the Word was God. And so we added the number of letters to get the numerical vibration of the letters and the numerical value, and added this together. We had 12, which coincide with the 12 tribes of Israel. We also had 12 showed up with Christianity. Of course, the numerical value for Christianity is 11, which falls, oh, this is just so perfect. Perhaps I know, because I know so much about Christianity, but it's all there. I'll fall in line with the sacrifice template, and we have the number of letters is 12. So we can see that this is not by chance. And I would love to kind of meet with the great mathematician of this device, or this whatever orchestration, whatever we want to call it. But it is really, really well thought of. It is just to perfection. And it would really be good to know that, well, perhaps this goes so much further than I can begin to fathom. So I will just take what's in my stead. Okay, so we had 12, which also reflects the 12 disciples of Jesus Christ, because when we speak of Christianity, we speak of the 12 disciples. When we think of Judaism, we think of the 12 tribes of Israel. Now, what I constantly try to say to people is that the stories are really the same. And High Priest Aaron has really emphasized that point as well. It's really about the 12 tribes, the stories. And High Priest Aaron was also saying that, you know, he wore the 12 plaques, or the gems, or the stones that represented the 12 tribes. So having those on him, having to carry them day in, day out, or wherever he was, he had to wear this and go into the tabernacle and make sacrifices and so on, being the high priest. Of course, this was also the same going through the tabernacle. High priest Aaron is right saying to me right now, the tabernacle was also another mode of going, like going through the Red Sea. This is what High Priest Aaron is saying. It's just like Jonah going through the whale of the belly. The whale of the belly. The belly of the whale. Okay, maybe he went through the whale first. Okay. And so This is all these the same things. It's like the daily sacrifice, and of course Jesus Christ's sacrifice was the emblem, or that was meant to encapsulate all other sacrifices. So High Priest Aaron knows what he's talking about. Okay, so we are now looking at Hinduism in this sense. Before I go on to that, we had an overall number for Christianity, which is 5, which encapsulate Christ to the T, or the apple. The word apple equals, of course, when we say apple, because the whole story universally has been said, it is an apple. And I could say it's a moringa, because moringa also equals 5, and it is called the tree of life. It is the bittersweet kind of thing. So, and I think it's more appropriate as well. Okay. There is another thing that I want to point out with number 5 as well. It also equals Eve. And of course, the 14 gods for Christianity, if you add not 1 plus 4 together, which Christ came through the lineage of 14 generations of 14 and so on, and came to 14. 1 plus 4 is 5. So back to Hinduism, I just felt I needed to give you this. In case you're watching this, you can go back to Christianity, and if you want to watch that as well, you can, and see how those things marry. So what we really want to do is find out how Hinduism, with the numerical value of 6, again, this is what we did. We added the number of letters with the numerical value, which was 7, and the letters are 8. Adding this together gives us 15. 1 plus 5 is 6. And of course, if we did the numerical value for the word 6, it would give us 7. I'm just giving you the expansion on that. So this would actually say here, number 6 is the number of man. Here. And if we did the numerical value for the word 5 too, it gives us 6. So this is also encapsulating the number of man. Speaking of 6, I just found it was very interesting that our Prime Minister Johnson has now asked people, or said that we could now meet up with a group of 6 people. This is not by chance, because there is the new creation is happening now, and now we are asked to meet in groups of maximum 6. This is a reflection, or another way of using that vibration of the new creation of man, which is 6, the number. Okay, we will do another video on that. So number 6, let's look at who of the gods, or which of the gods, are coinciding with Hinduism. Now, we only have one. Unlike Christianity, with 3 of the gods, Hinduism have only one of the gods, which is the said god, of course, and the said god has 4 letters. So what we did to really find out the overall value here, we had, so Hinduism is 6, and of the said god, SAID, which has 4 letters, and of course equals 6. So this gives us 10. So 10, of course, is actually 1. So we can see how, of course, we don't have any, it's just given just to give the full flavor of numerical values here. If we did the numerical value for 10, or like the word 10, it would give us 12. So we could see that we would also have a relationship with Christianity being 12, or having 12 as the disciples, and of course Judaism too as 12. So the overall number would be 3, coinciding more, we would say, with Judaism as having an overall number of 3. But this is very interesting that we would have 6, the only number meaning the said God. Now, the said God is the God of sayings and very powerful. As we can see, has 4 letters, which is like foundation. And of course, if we did the numerical value for the word 6, SIX, it gives us 7, because this would be 16, 1, 9, 6. It would give us 7. And we would see that 7 in itself has a numerical vibration of transformation, where, of course, because the word 7 is actually 20, and here we see we are in 2020. So death is actually, because it equals death as well, and 4 is actually foundation, and doing the numerical value for 4 gives us the numerical value, the word value for 4 is 6 as well. So we would see that that coincides with the number of man. Okay, and 6 plus 7 would be 13. So let's not go, we're keeping this simple, but it's just to give you the essence of how these are resonating. So we don't have, in fact, we do have a God. Of course, we have a God here. So we would have 10, and we have, so basically, the said God would be related here with the called God as 1. So what I didn't mention as well, that for Christianity having 11, they would ultimately coincide with the created God. But we are not touching on this so much here. We are not really adding this. It was just a flavor, just to see which of the gods. The main thing is to see which of the gods that each individual religion resonates with. We have seen Christianity resonates with the 3 gods of movement and making and endings. Now we see with Hinduism that it resonates with the said God right here. And of course, if we were to look at the overall thing of that calculation we did, which came to 1, it would be the called God, which coincides with 1, with a 1, and 1 is 7, which also would be like the said God, because the said God has a numerical value of 7. So this really is so important that we see that the said God has everything of creation right here. Now I will keep this simple because I'm tempted to go over into the other gods, which I didn't. Well, with Christianity, for instance, when I did the moved God to look at the 6 hair, and the made God is 6 hair, and the ended God, oh my, this is frightening. The 6 hair. I'm going to have to do another video on this, because Christianity have been talking a lot about 666, but they resonate here with the 666. And here, Hinduism resonates with 7, so 6 and 7. Oh, I wish I did cover this before. So Hinduism, let's look at, we're going to really dwell on that. Hinduism, which is the third God showing in the Bible. And I believe that Hinduism have a lot of they do value the number 6 quite a lot. Well, according to one person that I watched, that everything evolves around the number 6. So this would be interesting for me to do a little bit more research on. And of course, 6 plus 6 in numerical values is 17. I hope you can see this. This is really interesting that okay, so we see here that it's the said God for Hinduism, and the numerical value of 6 is 16, 1 plus 6 is 7, and that gives us the overall tone of that God right here. And so all of creation is happening here with the said God. The said God is also Mother Eve, because Mother Eve is really the word, for instance, the God of words. In fact, the word equals 6 as well. So this is the said God who said, did God say you should not eat of the fruit, or something to that effect in the garden? So anyway, I'll keep this here. So we will conclude that Hinduism resonates with the said God, and that is really beautiful, which is one God. Now, unlike Hinduism, who's got like millions of God, but the idea is to say that God is so infinite. So they would say like God has a lot of God, there's a lot of different gods. But it's their way, how I understand it, is to say God is infinite. Okay, and this would be very interesting to explore a little bit more. And so there we are with Hinduism and 6. So it is the said God with the numerical value, and we did add this. Well, there's no need for us to really add it. It's just really look at it. It's like the said God, because I'm not sure. Yes, I am sure that I did this. Added the number of letters. We added the number of letters, and that was 1. So we could also say that 1 is of the called God as well. So when you say something, or when you call, you say something. So that makes perfect sense. Of course, 6 plus 1 here is 7. So voila, and there's 16 on here. So I do love this. I hope you have enjoyed it. I hope you found it fun. Please like, subscribe, and share, and of course invite others so we can all partake of this beautiful spiritual food for our evolution, so we can become better expression